We're getting into kind of the meat of the stuff here now. And this is where most people don't do this if they're representing themselves. They don't get into the discovery process. And what's the discovery process? Well, you know what? If someone sues you or you sue someone else, you have a right to find out the facts of that case. What is it that supports your case, or what is it that supports the plaintiff's case going forward? And you have a right to determine that. And so they can't just make allegations against you and then get a judgment. They have to prove their case. And you have a right to prove your case as well. And the way that we do that is through discovery. And it's just a fact-finding mission, essentially. And we use 4 basic tools. There's production, where you say, hey, I want to see these documents, and they have to produce them, or they have to object to it. And we're going to look at that. It's called a request for production. You can ask for the promissory note, you can ask for the mortgage, you can ask for the assignments, you can ask for the acceleration letters that they did. There's a variety of things, and we're going to show you a sample of that you can use to ask for. If you think of something else particular in your case, you can always add it in there. All right, but the sample that we gave you is pretty extensive, so that should be enough for the most typical mortgage foreclosure case. The other one is interrogatories. And interrogatories are questions. And so you can ask them questions and say, who's this person that signed the endorsement? Who's the person that signed this assignment? When did you assign it? If it's a lost note, when did you lose the note? How did that happen? So you can ask questions, and they are supposed to respond to you. That's called interrogatories. The other one is called request for admissions, and that is essentially you kind of try and prove your case. You say, admit or deny that you don't have the promissory note. Admit or deny that you don't have the mortgage. Admit or deny that they didn't assign this mortgage to you. Admit or deny that it was never endorsed over to you. These are the kind of things that you're going to try and prove. So you try and prove your case. And again, we have samples for you to look at on how to do it. Now, in reality, does it ever happen? Probably not. But the good thing about the request for admissions is if they don't respond in a certain amount of time, the required amount of time, then you can request an order from the court saying that all of those that weren't responded to are deemed admitted. And so in that rare case, you could actually have your case proven by their failure to respond to requests for admission. So in general, I'm not a big fan of requests for admissions because generally people don't answer them the way that you would like them to. But it's a tool that's in your arsenal. And then the final thing is what's called depositions. And depositions where you get to sit in front of someone and ask them questions. Instead of doing a written question and answer session, you do a live question and answer session. And you can force someone from the corporation, the lender, to come and sit down and you can ask them questions. Hey, how did you get this note? Why are you suing me? When did you get the note in your possession? There are any kind of number of questions that you can ask. Now, again, in general, the average pro se defendant does not set up depositions, and it's a fairly advanced technique we're talking about here. So I don't know. We'll talk about that, and we're going to show you how to do it. And you're going to have to get some comfort level, but we're going to do some mock depositions so you get a sense of how this thing works. But those are the 4: production requests, interrogatories, requests for admissions, and depositions. Those are your 4 basic discovery tools that hopefully you're going to find out some information. Now, I'll tell you what happens a lot of times, either they don't respond to you or they respond in a kind of half-hearted way. They'll say, oh, your request is too broad. This is a trade secret. Usually what you get, they'll give you 2 or 3 things out of 50, and the rest of the time they're objecting to it. So the first thing, if they don't respond, great. Don't respond. Take all the time you want. They'll do motions for extension of time. I don't care. Take as long as you want. Why? Because you're trying to buy time in the house. Take a year. I've had many times where I've served discovery and I don't hear from them again for a year and a half. Wonderful. They're supposed to respond in 30 days. I don't care. Take your time, right? Alternatively, you could say, I want you to do it, and you file what's called a motion to compel. We have samples in there. You can take a look at that. motion to compel, if they don't file within 30 days like they're supposed to, then you can force them to respond. I wouldn't do it. Don't do it. Wait till they take all the time they want. Let them respond whenever they get around to it, okay? Now, when would you actually use a motion to compel? If they give you those half-hearted answers, and they don't, that's ridiculous. You ask to see the promissory note and they say the request is overbroad. No, it's very relevant to the case. And so then you can say, you know what, no. And so there's a motion to compel, and we're going to, there's a sample motion to compel, and all you're saying is, look, I asked for this, and they didn't do it. So when would I use the motion to compel? I'd use it when they half-hearted response to you. And there's a whole section on the motion to compel, and that's when you're going to want to do it. What I want you to do first, though, is before you get there, I want you to go through and look at all the discovery modules, and if they don't respond to them, then you can do the motion to compel. And I'm going to tell you all about the motion to compel. I'll show you how to do it, how the hearing goes, everything else. But I just want to, again, give you an overview of that. There's a separate module on the motion to compel. For now, though, let's start looking at each of these discovery tools. First one we're going to look at is the motion to produce, the production request.